Hello everybody and welcome back to my base. The last video I posted generated a little bit of interest, so I decided to give you guys a little bit more of an in-depth look at how these machines are made. Of course, these two machines are my drilling rigs, the big one and the really big one. Now, before I teach you guys how these things are made, I just want to mention that this machine here is quite a big investment. It's got a level 5 driver's seat, 4 level 5 suspensions, 2 level 5 controllers. You can't even see those, those are buried somewhere back there. Yep. 1, 2, and a level 4 controller, so that's 3 controllers total. A level 5 engine, and 2 refineries, which are 5 controllers each. And what else we got? We got of course 2 chests, so those are a bunch of component kits each. I'm getting stuck here. And if you're an absolute maniac like me, these level 5 jet engines will cost you 50 component kits each. So overall, this setup, you're looking at least 300, 400 component kits. Yes, I have sunk a lot of time into this world, and you just kind of accumulate all those parts as you play along, but oh man, I would not want to start this thing from scratch. It's basically it's better if you cannibalize your your creations along the way. So anyways, I'm going to start off today by showing you how to create the chassis for this machine. I'm going to have to... Alright, so one of the first things you need to know about these machines is that these machines do not have a proper floor. So if you look underneath, all you see is the bare bones machinery. And that's important just to keep it low and to keep the weight down. But how we're building this way can be a little bit tricky, so I'm going to show you how you do that. As you can see, this one's the same. So to build a machine with no floor, it's actually easier if you start with a floor first. So let's just lay down a nice big slab. And we also want a sidewall. So you build that 6 blocks tall. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, running out of wood. And okay, so I'm just going to cannibalize this. I'll borrow it for now, let's say. Put this refinery on its side. And then you take your chest, put it on. Now the reason you're doing this is because the refinery, you cannot attach blocks to the side. See, like I'm trying to find a place to put the blocks, but you just can't do it. You can't do it on the front, the back, and either side. The only place you could put blocks is on the bottom or over here where you mount the chest. You can actually mount blocks right here, which is kind of a nifty little trick, but yeah, oh well, as long as we have something mounted to the chest, it'll keep this thing grounded. So let's do that. And now that just holds it in place. So when I take this off, it doesn't all topple over. So let's borrow another one of these refineries. Let's try that. Nope. Okay, yes, they seem to be lined up. But yes, like I was saying, people with OCD, beware. You're not going to get a nice, even, symmetrical look using this style. I mean, hey, just look at it. It's hard to believe, but these two actually are in a line. You know, see, like, yeah, see, like they do line up on top here. Okay, so right now, this is the only thing holding this together on the floor. And on the front, we're going to place one of these guys, which we cannot do yet because we do not have a floor. Okay. Now let's see. How can we... Is that lined up? It's hard to tell. Yeah, you know what? I think that's lined up. Yeah. Alright, so now the next thing you're going to do is to provide, I don't know, you I guess you could call this the spine, because this is what holds it all together. This little thin strip of metal and wood. Alright, so yeah, that's what's holding these all together. So if I go ahead and take out this little support thing and remove this floor, alright, yeah, just as I intended. So now you have this awkward looking configuration being held together by a thin strip of wood. And that is your chassis. That is what everything else is mounted onto. Alright, now that you got your chassis, you want to start putting on your suspensions and such. So, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4. I think that's the right place. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's hope that works. And same up front. 2, 3, 4, and 1 block forward. 2, 3, 4, 1 block forward. Okay, suspension. Now this step's pretty basic. I guess you guys probably know how this works, but placement is very important here, because if you have the wheels in too tight, it's just going to rub against the machine, and you're going to get all sorts of performance issues, both with the machine and maybe your computer as well. Of course, the physics engine in this game is a bit temperamental. Now, do I got those lined up? I think they're even in terms of elevation, and it looks like it's lined up this way as well. Okay, and this configuration is actually one of the most important parts of this whole machine, because having 8-wheel drive is a huge advantage. Alright, so ignore the magically levitating blocks. That's just a little visual glitch that happens sometimes when you have this mounted on a lift. It'll straighten itself out once we release it from the lift anyways. So I'm just going to put these wheels on. And that brings us to a near complete phase of the base model. And that's basically it. We just slap on a saddle and an engine. Of course, for me, I put the engine down low because the engine's very heavy. Of course, you want to balance it with some source of weight on the other side. And yeah, let's go sideways as well. And yeah, you guys know the rest. Just hooking up your driver's seat with all your devices. And one thing that I will say is kind of important, because you see I got 8-wheel steering with four independent axles. You want to leave these front bearings at your standard 27-degree rotation. These ones you're going to want to reduce that a bit. I usually go around 10 to 12 degrees. Lower rotation is better for high-speed driving. Higher rotation is better for having a tight turn radius. So it's just another balance that you got to find. But yeah, this is the base of the Battle Factory. Next, I will show you how to build the drill rig setups, which is fairly complicated. So, alright. Alright, so when you're making these drilling attachments, I highly recommend that you make them detachable. That is so that you have a modular design. It just makes things much easier if you need to reconfigure or add different attachments. I actually do have some wood cutting attachments, but I don't think there's nothing too special about those, so I'm just going to show you my drill attachments for now. Now see how to attach them. Just take that block off. That block off. So see, this here is a fully self-contained unit. You got your 5 drills, and more importantly, you got your controllers on the same module. And this is important because you don't want to have to reprogram your controllers every single time you take it on and off. That just consumes a lot of time. It becomes rather tedious. So this way, if I ever feel the need to put it back on, just do that. And stand still. And voila. And take it off once again is easy. All you have to do is reconnect your switches when you do this, but that's just 1, 2, 3, and you're. Alright, building ourselves a new drill module. Mark this as center point just for reference. Yeah, these pistons are arranged in a rather weird way, but you'll see why I have them positioned this way pretty soon here. Again on your side, 1, 2, 1 forward, 3 to the side. Put the last pistons on there. Okay. Now put our bend pipes on there. This one's to the left, to the left, to the right, and down. Put some straight pipes. And bend to the side. Alright, so now we're ready to put our angle bearings on, as so. And some more bends. Okay, almost there. I'm just going to mount these on the blocks. Alright, so why did I go through all that effort just to make this slightly more complicated? You know, like why didn't I just put these pistons down on the same alignment as the rest of them? That's just so I can make more room for these wheels. See, now when I go mount this back on, actually first I gotta put these back in. You'll see that this is pretty close to the wheel. I mean, if I had just gone with the straight alignment, if I had, you know, had this piston 1 block back, yeah, this thing would be a little too close. I mean, you look at when the wheel turns, it's hard to see thanks to the awkward camera angles, but it actually gets pretty close. Like when you're traveling at high speeds, the collisions do become an issue. So you want to give your wheels just that extra little bit of clearance. So this whole awkward arm setup is in place just to give more room for your wheels. And that's important because you want the drills to be as tight to the vehicle as possible while still giving your rooms enough room to rotate. The reason you want your drills close to the vehicle is, once again, for balance issues. Having everything nice and tight together helps your vehicle handle better. And it also makes it much easier for your resource collector to suck up all the rock you're breaking. You don't want to be drilling on a big long arm extension far away from the center of your vehicle. Now this next step, I believe most of you should be familiar with, putting these blocks in for your offset mounting. And do I have 5 drill bits? I believe I do. Alright, and that is the basic configuration. Now, you're going to need 2 level 5 controllers and 1 level 4 controller. You need the level 5 controller to, 1 level 5 controller to power the drill bearings, 1 level 5 controller to power the pistons. You want a level 5 controller for the pistons as well, just so you go that extra little bit faster. And you want a level 4 controller to power to control the angle bearings. The reason you need a level 4 controller is just because you need a level 4 controller just to control that many bearings. I'm not going to go through the whole process of reprogramming all of these. I'm just going to go back to this as an example. Now, it's not coming off. Did I not take the right piece? There we go. So yeah, see here's this is a level 5 controller that we use to power the pistons. Okay, see, yeah, this is just a mess. It's hard to make sense of what's going on here, but so this one powers the pistons. I'm going 7070, and yeah, you can go all the way if you want. I find the sweet spot for the piston stroke length somewhere between 6 and 10. You can play around a bit yourself, see what works best. This one over here, this one is the angle bearing controller. See, default is at a flat 0 and then 20 degrees downwards for when you're breaking up the small rocks. And that means this last controller is for the drill bearings, which of course is 360 degree rotation, max speed, infinite loop. All of these, of course, each have their own switch that they're connected to, and those 3 controllers in turn are connected to the driver's seat. And just for demonstration's sake, I'll turn this back onto my vehicle. I hope I get this right. Close enough. Switch 1, switch 2, switch 3. Okay, switch 1 does that. Switch 2 is our pistons. I'll try, yeah, go back to default. And switch 3 is your angle. Up, down. Alright, so yeah, that's how this thing works. Alright, so before I give another demonstration of my drill rig, I want to show you some of the prototypes that I've worked on to come up with this. These prototypes didn't really prove too useful for myself, but hopefully they give some of you some inspiration. Maybe you can find ways to make them work better with your own drill rigs. So this is once again another offset demonstration. As you know, you can go 1 block to the side to get a spiral in our rotation. But if you want to take that 1 step further, you can actually go 1 block diagonal. So if I place these on the red blocks, as you see here, that will actually give us a larger throw radius, about 41% more of a throw radius actually. And see, and what I've also done here is, of course, I've gone with the double piston. So, of course, as you all know, that means double the speed since they're in line. And it looks a little something like this. Yeah, very interesting. And so I actually tested that on my drill rig, and it did work remarkably well. The problem with this configuration is that it has so much rotational inertia that it just takes control of your machine. It just starts shaking all over the place, and it becomes really hard to drive. Yeah, I think I'm going to puke. But really has a lot of potential. You know, there's infinite potential you can go with. I imagine that if you had an even heavier machine, I mean, like even heavier than that beast, this would actually work pretty well. And the other configuration to come up with is, this is what I call the egg beater configuration. Basically just as it sounds. Another interlinking rotation with drills pointed in all directions. And you can see I also have the drills mounted on bearings, which just rotate freely. And this one also, once again, worked very well. The only issue I had with this one is that it made my machine very front heavy, and it really took the edge off the vehicle's performance. It just didn't feel like a sports car anymore. It just felt like a big, bulky, cumbersome drill rig. Yeah, but for those of you who are building big, ambitious machines, I encourage you to try wacky stuff like this. Alright, so I'm going to give another demonstration of how this drill rig works. The reason for that is because on my last video somebody commented that going for the low-hanging fruit, rock nodes on the flat, even surface is kind of cheating. I kind of agree. You know, most of the rock nodes in this game are located on top of steep hills. I guess that's just to make a little bit of challenge. This rock collection here is a prime example of that. I can only imagine that the person who programmed into this game is the same person that programmed the Tate bots. Clearly a sociopath. But yeah, I decided that this vehicle here, the smaller version of the Battle Factory, is the best vehicle for it. Just having a more compact design is slightly better for the hilly terrain. I have no idea how well it's going to work, honestly. I typically avoid these types of rock nodes, but let's get down to it and see how well it does. Oh yeah. Uh-oh. Machine's getting the sploots. And splooting is a technical term. You can look that up. That's when your suspension goes all flaccid and your machine lies belly on the ground. It tends to happen when the rock chunks break up into a whole bunch of little pieces that anger the physics engine. Let's push these back up the hill and angle down. Yeah, so yeah, he's struggling a little bit, but just gotta realign yourself every now and then. Whoa, get in there. And straighten out. Yeah, the other challenging thing is that if your drill bits rub against the ground, it completely eliminates any control you have over the vehicle. Because doing that it takes the weight off of your tires, your front tires especially, and so you have very little steering control. And because the drill bits have very little friction, you just slide all over the place. It's basically impossible to control. And that happens a lot when you have your drill bits angled downwards, so best to save that for when you really need it. Yeah, our big chunk bites dust. Oh yeah. Alright, not getting too splooty right now. Oh, that equals. Get in. Oh, it's a struggle, alright, but it's making it. Alright. Haha, alright. Alright, you want to get into Factory 2? Sure. Get in there. Yeah. Alright, let's knock you off the hill. Alright, let's approach it from the other side. Oh, trees and rocks everywhere. Break up some of these first to appease the physics engine gods. Ooh. Alright, well I think I've proved this machine works. Obviously it's going to take me a while to hunt down all these loose pieces. I don't know if there's any easy way to mine something that's on top of that hill and all the bits and pieces go flying all different directions. But yeah, if anybody has a machine that's better suited for this type of terrain, I would be very glad to see it. So once again, let me know if you have any questions, and hope you guys are inspired to make some really interesting drill rigs based off the concepts you've seen here. I just gotta break a bit more of this. This is a satisfying part. Alright, thanks guys.